Okay, we looked at some rods and some jerk baits and some titanium leader. Let's talk about the rod you're going to use from the soft plastics, class lines, and talk a little about the baits you've picked out of all these buckets to use.
For the fishing with the soft baits, rubber baits, that kind of stuff, I use a little bit longer rod, as you see, 220 to often up to a length of 270, but something in between. I think from a kayak it's maybe a little bit easier to take it a little bit shorter. So 240 like this one, it can be a really good choice. It's, as you can feel here, it's not so stiff as the...
No, it's not the other one.
No, exactly. And that just means you fish it in another way. You slowly retrieve it, make your stop moments, and the lure sinks down, get it up, and that's often the moment when they
go
strike.
bang.
Yes. Well, like this, it's the same. I have here an
180
example
gram.
offer. Yes. 60
rod.
to 180. So that's a pretty wide range. But I mean, in this boat, we have the whole thing here is full of rods. So in fact, we have, for 2 fishing styles, we use about 20 different rods. But in a kayak, it's impossible to take 20 rods with you. So I think that rods like these can be a real good effort.
Very stiff rod.
To fish all the things you need.
That's good.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, let's talk about some baits.
Well, the baits we fish with rods like these are more that kind of baits. Again, I
Big
prefer...
paddle tail on the back?
Yes, yes, yeah.
What brand of lure is that one? Who makes that one?
This is absolutely one of my favorites.
Yes?
The Westin Jetties.
Okay.
Take advantage of it. They 100% they work. And some new ones from Westin Hypothese. But
amazing.
yes.
There you go, lads. Tail, Westin baits. I know where you're going to be buying these for sure.
As you see,
very natural bait.
Yes,
very natural.
I prefer because it's hard to say at the time when you come here, but as you see, the ice is not even gone, so the water is really cold. Personally, I prefer to fish the bigger baits then, slowly retrieve them. And, yeah, often in the shallow parts, some areas, it can be the trick to scale down to some smaller baits, but that's something the anglers need to find out themselves.
Okay. Now, how would you rig this? What would you do on your trebles?
Well, I don't use the stiff leaders on these one.
Okay.
I prefer myself fluorocarbon. Don't take it too thin.
Okay.
Take at least 0.8, but preferably 1 millimeter and higher.
So a millimeter, about 18 kilos of leader line, and fluorocarbon.
Absolutely.
A little bit of give in the line when you get the big strikes.
And the fluorocarbon, I often make them a little longer, up to 60 centimeters.
Okay.
That's what I prefer. And then you can rig the baits in many different styles actually. I mean, it will be a wide variety of fishing. One day you fish above 60 centimeters of water with a lot of plants in it and some structures and everything. Then it's pretty easy to rig those things without any lead. Just screw in the things like this all the way, and then it's actually pretty simple. I use the complete rigs. Just pop them in, and one here, and at the moment...
Who's making that rig? What company is making
these? These are both available from Westin and also from CVC.
CVC, which is Strike Pro in our country, that's good. So
CVC makes them under the brand of BFT. So
BFD? Yeah. Okay, so that's the rigging. They just pop in and you're ready to go, tie it on.
Yeah, but a good thing to know is maybe we have a shop close here, so in case anglers need any stuff or things they can't buy at home or forgot it, just let me know and we can
get this shop here. That sounds good. We'll do it. We passed a couple of tackle shops there. One was a new one and had a very, very good range of stuff, but that's quite good. The biggest thing is the name brands for these guys. They can get online and have a look at. Westin Street's coming to mind, and obviously the Strike Pro to the CMC, so that's good. And you'd rig all those pretty much the same.
Like this, when the pike grabs it, that's the fun of this. They pop out immediately, and often the shed hangs out of the mouth, so it doesn't do so much damage, and it's pretty much easier to unhook them.
Okay.
And of course, the same system. When you fish a little bit more outside, it's a lot of structures. I mean, it can go from 40 meters and then really quickly up to only 2 meters, and that's often real interesting spots on the outside. So where the underwater islands, structures. That means you need to fish a little bit deeper.
Yep.
And then
Chuck
just
some
do
lead in.
do the same system. Rig them up with some lead. I mostly use between 10 and 30 grams.
10 and 30
depending
grams on the depth of water you're trying to get
But
to.
that will do it, and it's the same system. Just pull it in and
Yep.
then rig this on without the shallow screws.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Now, some of the questions we've been getting in a lot of places around the world, where you either have impoundment waterways or lakes where fish are used to the water at a certain height. And here, is there much height variation in
Yes.
the lake itself?
Yes.
And obviously, as the spring comes in, the lake is going up. Now, with the fish being used to the water down in the winter time as it comes in, what do the fish do here? I mean, they like staying in that original place at the old water depth, the old shoreline, or how does that impact the fish here as that water rises?
Yeah, well, of course they live in a particular area, but they migrate more than you think, and especially on big lakes like this, they can swim really big distances. What's most common in the spring, right after the winter, then the water starts heating up quickly.
Yes.
We often have weather like this, so you can understand what happens to the system. What happens then often in the early spring, the fish is gonna collect together just on the outside of the parts where they enter the shallow bays. So actually
They'll
they
hang out there.
yes, they prepare for the spawning process and feed a lot there. So it's often the time when you can catch the real huge fat fish.
We've got a guy that we follow in the United States, Carl Jorgensen. He's an Australian guy fishing the FLW there.
Yeah.
And they just had a place at the Bassmaster Classic. And the same thing, it was pre-spawn,
Yeah.
very, very cold, and
Yes.
they quite hadn't gone up under the flats yet to do it.
Yes.
Is it going to be a similar thing here?
It's
really,
exactly-
as that
exactly
temperature
similar.
comes up,
Yes.
they'll head up into the shallow areas
Yes,
here.
yes.
So it's a very similar thing.
They get close, and at some point when it's their right time, and that's a system Mother Nature has
That's it.
taught us. So
Now, there's a lot of guys in the power boats and the kayak. It was a term we always use, run and gun, where you fish the spot for 3 or 4 minutes, and you go there and you go there and go there. Does that technique work on this lake? Or are you better grinding it out in a certain spot and then work everyone?
Yes and no. It's of course totally depending, and that's often with pike fishing, on the circumstances. They're most active if we got pretty stable weather, stable air pressure. Then you can follow the same pattern for a few days often.
Gotcha.
What does it mean? When you fish on the outside banks where we just talked about, where the big structures are entering the shallow parts, where they're waiting to go in for spawning, then it's often really worth it if you hit some fish, stay a little bit longer in that area.
Work it a little bit more.
Work it more, absolutely. Give it some time and over and over and over.
Do you
But with the run and gun method, it's exactly until you find a
Find
spot
it.
like that.
Yes.
I do the same. Yeah.
You're out searching,
Quick
just searching
stops,
for stuff.
searching. Yeah.
Okay. A lot of fishing is pressure has a lot, so we get fronts coming through here all the time. Do you, as that fronts come through, the barometer is dropping? Does that really affect pike quite a bit?
Yes, absolutely.
Really, a lot of American fish and even Australian fish, the same thing. The pressure gradients really shut them down,
Yeah.
and no matter what you do and what you
Nope.
throw at them, they're not going to eat.
No.
That's all right. No. The what's going to be the average fish size pulled out of here? Are they 600? Are they 800? Are they a meter? What's the typical fish this time of year?
A typical size up here that you will catch a lot is fish between 80 and 90 centimeters, close to a meter. But there's also many fish, and I'm 100% sure that a few are going to come out.
Some
that
big fish?
Easily should reach over 110, maybe up to 120.
Now
Hopefully some good weights, but that depends really on what's going to happen with the spawning period. It's been a little bit longer winter than in the past 5 years, and of course that affects the behavior of the process of the
The
fish.
same thing, we're talking to the local people in the hotel, and this has been the coldest or the longest winter in 100 years. So now in UK it was the same thing, so we have a very long winter. There's obviously still ice here. I'm hoping that it all melts. I'm hoping it warms up a little bit. Now tell us about the lake. This is the largest lake, inland lake in Sweden itself.
Yes. What you say about the longest winter in 100 years, I don't completely agree.
Okay.
I don't know that age, but I mean, I've had a winter like that about 5-6 years ago
Yep.
also. But The ice is lasting pretty long this year, and especially on big lakes like this.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great comp. The joy for me is seeing people come to another country that have never seen a pike, maybe have never fished freshwater, and they see lures like this, and they're probably going right now, watch this, going, what's going on? You talk about 800 and 900 meter fish. I know they're going to get excited. I think it's going to be good. The venue is fantastic. The town is just unbelievable. That everyone is warm and welcome here. It's quite good. So I'm looking forward to it. So many thanks for taking the time and explaining to some of these guys internationally of what to look for. It's going to help them save a few dollars. I can tell you that. They're going to narrow it down completely.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's hard because our plan was to take the boat out and go a little bit outside, and then out there you will meet thousands of islands, weed lines, shallow areas, and it's amazingly beautiful. But as you see, besides the lack of time, it's pretty hard now for us to go out with a boat and show you that area.
I understand that.
But I'm 100% sure the anglers will love it.
We're coming back early. We're here about on the 9th of May. And we'll come back out. We're going to take and map out the lake for some areas and no-goes and things like that. But anyway, thank you very much for taking the time in there. And we look forward to seeing you guys here. Most of you are going to arrive on the 14th and 15th. And the event kicks off for Hobie Fishing World 7. You can follow us at hobiefishingworlds.com. We also have a Hobie Fishing Worlds Facebook page as well. So thanks again, Andy, and we'll catch you guys in a few days and also in a month's time.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
And welcome soon.